Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Good morning, cousins. Come on in the room. Hey, May. Hey, Tyam. Hey, Lori. How you doing? Hey, Shamber. Hey, Jen. Hey, family. Hey, Glamber Monique. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, cousins. Go ahead and greet your cousins and tell them that you love them. You know all the good stuff that we do when we get together in our big family reunion, in our classroom setting. Go ahead and tell everybody that you love them and that you're happy to see them. Good morning. Good morning. And then do me a favor and share the live. Go ahead. I have a special guest today. Y'all know I always bring people in that's going to inspire us, encourage us, motivate us, help us get to where we're going in life, and maybe invoke a thought. You know what I mean? Maybe lend some information or lend some wisdom or lend some insight into a place that we never thought about. And so today I got a special guest and I'm really excited about it. Hey Van, good morning. And so please do me one good, Sophia, and make sure that you're sharing the live. Hey, Shauna, how are you? I'm glad to see y'all. I'm glad to see some of you that I haven't seen in a minute. Hey, Reed, I'm glad to see you guys. And we're going to get started in a minute, but you know I got to give you your song, right? You know I got to give you your song. So I'm going to wait like a couple of more seconds and then I'm going to give you your song. But as I give you your song, you know we're going to stand in agreement for Amos 9, 13, and 15. I need all my cousins. I need all of us to stand in agreement that big things are coming, big things are happening, not someday, because I checked the calendar. I checked the calendar the other day. The other day is a real thing, but I checked the calendar yesterday, the day before yesterday, and I checked it again this morning. And I can confirm that someday is not a day. Someday is not a real thing. And so we got to stop saying, oh, it's going to happen someday. Someday I'm going to get that blessing. Someday things are going to change. Someday it's going to get better. Someday it's going to change. Someday I'm going to get out of debt someday. I'm going to get my healing someday. We got to stop saying that. Someday is not a day, baby. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, today. So today is the day that we stand in agreement for our suddenly. Amos 9, 13, and 15. I like it in the Message version because it say it won't be long. It won't be long now. By God's decree, it said things are going to happen so fast it's going to make your head swim. Blessing on blessing, so many that is pouring down off the mountain like fine wine, not that cheap wine, not that Boone's Farm, y'all, not that cheap stuff, like fine wine. It's going to be pouring down, blessing one on the heel of another one. Come on, y'all, somebody, blessing after blessing. So many, you like, ooh, by the time you say thank you Jesus for this one, baby, you saying thank you Jesus for another one. By the time you end up saying thank you Jesus for that one, now you done had to break out into a shout because he done sent another blessing, another one. You're gonna be like DJ Khaled up in that thing, another one, another one. Come on, somebody, another one. He said, I'm gonna make it right again. I'm gonna make it right again. And today is that day that I choose to see it. Today, not someday, today, right now. Today is my day that I see myself getting my breakthroughs. Come on, whatever you are trusting God for, whatever you're believing God for, whatever you're in anticipation for God to do in your life, whatever it may be, I need you not only to believe it, I need you not only to say it, I need you to see it. I need you to go into your inner thought. Come on. And I need you to tell your subconscious, I need you to tell your inner man, good morning, CC, that I see it today. I see it today. Blessing on blessing, blessing on blessing. So many, baby, that I don't mind my head swimming on that one. I don't mind my head swimming on a thank you, Jesus. Come on. I praise you, God. Thank you. Thank you, Father, for what you're doing. My testimony is it's going to happen quicker than I think. It's going to happen and it's going to be easier than I thought. Yesterday, I was in a little mood. Y'all know after we go through these classes sometimes, even if I've experienced it, I'll sometimes experience it again. And so yesterday, y'all know we talked about the spirit of offense. And baby, when I tell you, I was working hard to release that thing, but it felt like one thing after another. And then on top of that, had the nerve to get a ticket yesterday. what? I was so outdone and so frustrated. My baby girl came in. She said, Mama, it's going to be easier than you thought. Your testimony is it's going to be easier than you thought. Your testimony is it's going to happen quicker than you thought. Your suddenly is here. Don't forget that. I love when I speak a word to my children. I love when I speak a word to my cousins. I love when I speak a word to y'all in faith and then y'all give it back to me. Don't forget. Don't forget. Don't let the troubles of the day. Don't let the troubles of the world, Shiamba. Is it Denise? Don't let the troubles of the world trick you into thinking that your suddenly ain't here today. Not that it's coming, but it's here today. Don't let it trick you, baby. Hey, Shauna, don't let it trick you into thinking that it ain't gonna happen and it's not happening right now today for you. That things are gonna happen so fast, suddenly. And he gonna make it right again. That was easier than I thought. Come on, here's your song. Hello, 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 and how are you? Mighty fine, mighty fine, mighty fine, and you are too. Hello, 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 and how are you? Mighty fine, mighty fine, mighty fine, and you are too. Hey, y'all, let me tell y'all something. I've been praying over my vocals. I've been praying that one day I wake up. Today I wake up. Not one day, not someday. Today I wake up and I sound like Beyonce. So in my mind, I sound like Beyonce. In my mind, I sound like Tamara Mann. In my mind, I sound good. So listen, I don't know if y'all receive it or not. I don't know if y'all see what's happening here, but the change is here. That I'm stepping into my I am is here. I'm stepping into my I am powerful. I am all that. Listen, I am faithful. I am strong and courageous. I am bold. Hey. I am God's child. I'm stepping into it. I'm excited about today's guest. I'm so excited about her. I'm waiting for her to send the request. So if you're on, pretty lady, if you can send me the request. Her name is Sonia Hoffman, and she's our USA Olympian gold medalist. And I'm so excited about it. I have to save the replay for my girls to watch because I've been reading her story and it's so inspiring. I've been watching her videos. I've gone down the rabbit hole. And after today, I'm sure you guys will too. And you'll just be in awe of just how God is really just taking her in this place to really use her skills and her abilities. And I'm so excited for it. Oh, here she go. Good morning. Here we are. Hey, Joe. Good morning. I'm mighty fine, baby. I'm mighty fine. I woke up in my contact. Well, I don't wear contacts anymore. I got some LASIK, but it's doing something. But it's gonna be all right. Hey there.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I know you're like, girl, it is 8 o'clock in the morning and you are like lit.
Well, I'm on Mountain Time, so it's 9 o'clock here. So I wasn't really sure what time zone you were in, but I was like, you know what, we gonna make it work. It was like, you come on every time at the same hour. I was like, well, it seems like this is the best time.
I come on every morning, Monday through Friday, because this is when the cousins are here. And yeah, we break bread together. I'm so excited to talk to you today. I'm so excited to have you. First of all, you're beautiful. Let me start there.
Thank you.
Period. Come on, listen. I'm just like, okay, I've gone down the rabbit hole and I've like looked through all your videos. I'm like, golly, she's like a superhero. I'm so excited because I have 4 daughters, and I also my younger ones are 12 and 13, and my 13-year-old in particular. She's a runner. She's a track star. Like she's finding her footing in sports. And when I saw your story, I was like, wow, like this is so inspiring to her. Okay, so tell me, Miss Sylvia, tell me all about you, like as much as you want us and the cousins to know. In our community, we call each other cousins, right?
Okay.
So this is your family. This is our safe space. We just chill. Yeah. We do what we want to do because we popping. But I would love for my cousins to get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay, so again, thank you for having me on. Hello, everyone, and good morning. Blessings to you. My name is Sylvia Hoffman. I am a Beijing 2022 Olympic bronze medalist in the sport of bobsled. It is one of the few sports that have basically a lot of African American athletes in it. I think we're the most. I think we had like 5 this past Olympic year. So I won bronze in a 2-person event. And it was my first Olympic Games, my first time medaling. And, to be an athlete and be able to do this at age 32, to me, I was like, this is completely amazing. I'm like, I basically spent my entire life trying to figure out how to do it right. I've switched sports 3 times. So I've had 3 main sports in my athletic career, that being basketball for 15 years, Olympic weightlifting for 8 years, and then bobsled for the last 5 years. So I was able to be successful in my early 30s, which a lot of people don't really think that's a thing, because the stigma is you have to be like mid 20s, super young, all of those things. But the blessings that come with my sport is that you have to be strong and you have to be fast. And most of the time, those things come together when you're mid to late 20s, because that's when a lot of people are in their prime. They've learned a bunch, their bodies are mature enough to be able to handle these workloads. And as a bobsledder, I came to the sport at age 28. So I was able to put what I learned in basketball, which was power, explosiveness, and just like knowing how to win. And then in Olympic weightlifting, I learned how to make Olympic teams, because if you don't hit the right numbers, you're not going to make the right teams to make, the Olympic Games or World Championships or any of that. So I was able to kind of put my 2 previous sports together to be able to put it in bobsled and make sure I wasn't having like those red flags. I learned from my mistakes, coaching mistakes, training mistakes, all of those things. And I was able to put that into what I would say my end goal of being an Olympic medalist, because it's pretty hard. And, like a lot of people have been saying, like, well, how do you feel? Are you humble? Are you humble? I'm like, honestly, I looked up the word the other day and I'm like, I don't think I really fall in that humble category, because it's basically saying to put yourself down so other people can feel better. And I'm like, I've literally beat the entire world minus 2 teams, which they were Team Germany. And I'm like, I can't really put myself down in those ways and make myself feel lower as a person and as an athlete, because I've actually hit those pinnacles. So within my particular sport, I'm able to say, no, I don't want to put myself down in a way of making myself feel little, lowering my confidence, not really recognizing my accolades, because I have had to go through so much struggle just to get to where I am, to where I'm like, no, I'm strong through in and throughout. My spirit, my spiritualness is strong. My faith, my body, my strength, my mind, my psychological differences, like all of those things have been, infused with just like strength and courage and wisdom, to a point where I'm like, I can't really do that. Now, if I was to switch sports, I'm like, okay, I have an understanding of I need to learn, but it's a lot different now that I've become an Olympic medalist. I'm like, now you really have to like keep those mental things, those things of like not putting yourself down, saying particular words, that are going to give you strength and courage, as opposed to, disbelief and, just belittling, like I said, belittling myself, because I've gone through school, traveling. I think there was a bunch of times where I moved every year for like 8 years. And then I prayed on it and I'm like, okay, God, if I could just stay in one address for 2 years, I would be happy. So I did. I stayed in it for 2 years. I was here in Colorado Springs. And then that following year, I got into bobsled. And then I've been moving around back ever since. But it was crazy how it happened, because I'm like, I prayed for it. And these are the things that's been happening in my life, because like when I pray for things, they actually happen. And I'm a big believer in putting in the work also. Like you can't just be like, hey, God, I'm going to give it to you. You do all this work. I'm going to sit back and let it happen. I'm going to just let your magic work. I'm a firm believer. And if you're going to pray for it, you're going to ask for it. How about you put the work in as well, so y'all can work together And then you might be able to start finding and noticing those little blessings along the way, like, a door opening, hours at a training center, a little bit more extended, or let's just say they're not extended and you're super exhausted and you're like, you know what, I needed to take the day off anyway. So the little blessings that I've been able to learn along the way and just notice, because I'm a big believer in like actually noticing your blessings, because some people will have it right there in front of their face and they'll completely miss it because they're not understanding the process. And so going backwards, because I'm starting from now until when I was younger. Before I got into Olympic weightlifting, I was doing basketball for about 15 years through college. And I was speaking to another lady last week, and I told her, I was like, well, I ended up on like plan D and E. I had a plan for college. I had a plan for if I graduated in 4 years, but then there was another plan. Well, what if you don't graduate in 4 years? What if you graduate in 5 or 6 years? What if you don't have the means to supply that money to finish your degree? And I was at that point before switching out of basketball into weightlifting. I was at a crossroads. I did 4 years. I tried to join the military. They said no. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to pay for college? I'm no longer on scholarship. And then I met some weightlifting friends and they said, you should join weightlifting. And I said, maybe I should. Let's see. And I got to watch one of my friends. He's now a 3-time Olympian for USA weightlifting. And he attempted an American record right there in front of our face. It was in the same gym that I had been playing basketball in for college. And I'm like, is this how it's done? Because I was like, I've never been shown this. And the crazy part about that whole scenario is I was probably at one of my lowest points in life, as a young adult. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have no money. I have no means to do anything. And I was looking for another path, because I also think that we have thousands of doors that are provided for us throughout life. And it's like, pick one. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to pick weightlifting, because they're doing things that are in line with my particular values. They're hard workers. They're representing their country, which is something I always wanted to do. So I was able to kind of chase that dream of representation, because with the Army, with the Air Force, I wasn't able to do it. And so I was like, well, what's weightlifting like? And then like I said, was at my lowest point. I think I had moments where I was like, kind of like the inside, but outside, I'm like looking, how I describe it was looking through a glass and seeing another part of myself on the other side just struggling. And I'm just like, man, this person can't get it together. And it took a while to like figure out, well, that's me. And so what I did was I prayed on it really hard. I worked on it. And I actually woke up one morning and I just felt joy. Like, how many people can say they actually feel joy and they have no care in the world? So that's what I woke up at. And it was the year before I began weightlifting. And guess what that first year brought me? My first international trip to Israel, first international trip ever. I'd never been out of the country. And I was just like, wow, I want to Israel. Didn't even know I made the team. My coach came in, he was like, you made this team. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, where are we going? And he's like, Allah, Israel. I'm like, what? I was like, I'm going to Israel for the first time out of the country. I was like, this is God's land. I was like, I get to, Jerusalem's there. We went to the Dead Sea. We went to, we snorkeled in Jordan's Bay. So I was like, the Bay of the Red Sea. I was like, wow, this is really cool. So that was my particular first thing. And then from weightlifting, it just took off. And I made my next international team my next year. And, I'm learning now. I moved to a different state. I was in Colorado at this time. So I'm like, wow, this is like picking up. This must be it. I graduated with a bachelor's of science. So like everything is on its way. And I'm still learning on how to do life, how to be an adult, how to take care of everything, that comes with it. Travel, money, car, food, all of those things. And I'm like, wow, okay. But then I switched into bobsled because I learned that it wasn't working for me. And throughout all of this journey of back and forth, trying to figure it out, I call it trial and error. Trial and error, you try it, it doesn't work. Okay, cool, move on to the next thing. And then you give your best in the next thing. Okay, that's not working. let me try this. Okay, this is working. So there's those multiple doors that you can try and you can go through. And some of them might not be the best one, but then you can be like, okay, well, this actually goes into something else that I really like. So it's almost like branching off into each area of, your journey, and then making sure that you're staying that path. Because throughout my particular journey, it's almost been like you're walking down this path, you are believing in the unknown, and you have no idea what to expect. And sometimes it can go dark and sometimes it can go light. And you can figure out, well, do I want to stay on this dark path or do I want to go towards the light? We want to say go towards the light, that light at the tunnel. And we want to go towards it. So it's just been like a roller coaster for me. Up and down through my life, I've had just different things that that we struggle with, and then you can grow from it, or you can fall, or you can fall, learn, and then grow from it. Whichever stage you are at, I believe that you can always get through it as long as you have some faith. And that's where, like I said, it's like an ongoing thing. And even now I'm just like, wow, you got some stuff going on, but you got this.
Yeah.
You get through so much, but you got this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. Listen, you gave so many like aha moments, and it was so much revelation coming out of what you said for just me and the cousins, right? So much. I wanted to throw my computer and take off running at one point, because there are a couple of things you said, but one thing you said in particular was that, like you go down these paths, and because we've been talking about decisions this week, right? Like, how do you make a decision? Right. And there's a particular scripture in the Bible where God is saying, listen, you'll hear with your own ears my voice saying, go left, go right, when you're on this path. Right. And so when we're confronted with decisions to make, like, I'm on this path, it's a dark path, it's a light path, right? And we want to say go down the light path, but sometimes we don't always make the best decisions, right? But we can trust that in life, we know that it's like this, right? It's a roller coaster. It is. Yeah. You have some things that are going on, but you also have this. And what has helped you was your faith. And I love it. But then there was one thing that you said that, girl, I was like, come on. Because this is going to mess with some people's theology. And that's okay. That's what we do here, right? Mm-hmm. You said, somebody asked me if I was humble. And I looked up the definition, and it says to make myself lower to make someone else feel better. Can I tell you that's because, listen, I'm going to give y'all some scripture. The Bible says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of the Lord, not under people. Okay? So when you say, I'm not going to put myself down to make somebody else feel better about themselves, come on, baby. I know that's right. I am powerful. I am strong. I worked too hard to get here. I went to school. I did all the training I needed to do. I did everything I was supposed to do. I'm not going to take that away from myself, right? And I think that even for myself, I've done that before. I was like, I don't want nobody to think that I think I'm better than them. And so I will like keep myself in this place of like belittling, right? Like, yeah, I'm good, but it's not. No. I will humble myself under the mighty hand of the Lord. And God did it, baby. I'll give the credit to God. But let me tell you something. God gave me the strength to be here where I am today. And so I want to say, that's right. I know that's right. Like, yeah. I'm so inspired and encouraged.
It was hard. Yeah, because it was hard for me, because knowing that I am a very athletic person. That is one of my biggest blessings. I'm super athletic, but I'm also intelligent. Like, I'm a computer science major, computer information systems. I'm able to think a little bit differently, and it's okay, because we're all really great at something. I'm not saying that someone's better than another. I'm just saying all of us have something in us that makes us great and beautiful. And for me as an athlete, like, noticing and knowing that I am that much better in some areas athletically than other people, like I throughout my entire life, I've had to, I don't know, I'm good, like I had to kind of like bring myself down so other people can feel like they were, that much better. But I'm like, but then once I showcased my talent, it was like, all things will break loose. And I'm like, well, dang it, now I have to go through this. Then it was like, oh no, this is the person that, is able to outdo me, because I don't have this. And I would try to avoid it every time, every sport, every organization. I'm just like, and then I reached this point and I just kind of just stayed my path, stay in my own lane. And I'm here now being able to say, I can't really put myself in a box because I've already let myself out the box.
Listen, cousins, I can't put myself in a box because I've already let myself out that box, period. God called me to be a peculiar person, to stand out. He didn't call me to be common. I'm not a common person. You're not a common person. Like, thank you for saying that. Thank you for that. It's so much revelation in that, and I love it because you're absolutely right. Like, if I'm saying to myself, I am bold, I am powerful, like I am good enough, and then I'm calling myself or causing myself to be belittled or to be under someone because I don't want them to feel a certain way, then that's not equaling up. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it has to show, because at some point, and we always say be yourself.
Yeah.
But then also is, well, don't be yourself too much. But then it's like, well, what's too much? And I feel like that's kind of one of those things when you start to get to really know yourself. Like, you don't have to put other people down to make yourself feel confident. Like, you really don't, because all of that stuff, it comes from what you've experienced, like how much growth you've had as a person, what your spiritual guidance is. Because a lot of people, and I've been running into a lot of people that, not necessarily a lot, but enough to where they have no beliefs, but yet they want to marry. And I'm like, well, you don't have any beliefs, because if we have a situation and both of us are down, what are you going to fall back on? What are you going to feel like, I have this strong faith? Like, what is your faith in? Because some people are like, well, I have faith in myself. Like, cool, me too. But what if yourself is also falling? Like, what are you going to reach for in that situation? Because you have to believe in something. Like, what is going to keep you from, falling apart entirely? Because I was like, for me, I've always had faith, through basketball, through growing up, through weightlifting, through all of these things. I've always had my faith. And I'm like, I know I'm going to fall short as a person at times, but God, please keep guiding me to make sure I still see the strength. I have the heart. I have the humility. I have all these things that's going to keep me going, because I know I'm not going to be able to understand what needs to happen and when all the time. Like, I'm not all knowing, but God, you are.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to kind of embed that in myself and my training and everything I do. And it just, honestly, it's just taken me to a whole other level.
I love it. That was my next question. Like, how has your faith helped you get to where you are today? And how has it sustained you? And I love when you said, yeah, well, I have faith in myself. Well, what if yourself is falling too? Then what? You know what I mean? So that's beautiful. Like, it sounds like your faith in God has really grounded you. It's been your center. It's been your, when I have something going on, I still trust that God is in the center of it. You know what I mean? Because you've had a couple of like different sports that you've played, right? And I'm sure that's kind of scary because you're transitioning from basketball to weightlifting to bobsledding, and that's something, I'm gonna be honest with you, that until I saw you, I was like, okay, listen, this might be where it's at, right? And so, like, when you're like, I'm sure there's fear that comes along with that, right?
Yeah.
But how does your faith keep you grounded and saying, all right, well, I'm just gonna trust God and just go forward?
Because I believe that my talents kind of carry me. Basketball is a sport that provides a lot of different outlets. You can, go into track, you can go into soccer. Like, it provides a lot of different things. And honestly, I call basketball my dark years, because there was so much that was going on to where basketball was the only outlet. And because of that, I was like, I have to get out of basketball. And so for me, I'm an emotional athlete. And so I put my emotions in the sport. And with basketball, it was my outlet of pain. So when I switched out and I went to weightlifting actually provides a lot of mental strength that helps with encouragement. Like, for instance, we'll be doing a lift, and it's scary to lift hundreds of pounds over your head. or even your own body weight over your head and make it graceful. Like that in itself is very courageous. And a lot of people are scared to do it, so they don't tend to put the weight over their head. They'll put a push press in front. And with that being said, I was like, I got to get out of basketball because the only thing I'm feeling is pain, and I like it. So when I switched to weightlifting, my coaches were like, okay, let's work on it. You know, I had an Olympic gold medalist as my second coach. And he was like, well, you're doing this wrong. You're so athletic, but you have some mental issues. He was like, let's fix it. And I was like, wow. Thank God.
Wow. Wait a minute. I sorry. So your sportsmanship was in essence therapy for you.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Wait, that was revealed while you were like working out, like in lifting weights. He was like, yeah, but mentally there's some things that we have to work out of you.
Yeah.
Did you know that before?
I did. And I told him. Yeah.
So that's kind of like doing the shadow work, but doing it like throughout like weightlifting. Because I know like, you know, a lot of people go to the gym because they're like, no, that helps me, right? Like I go to the gym because mentally it gets me together. It helps me. And I love, yes, mental awareness. And I love how you were even able to see yourself in one sport and say, yo, like this is pain and I like it, but I need to shift, right? I can't stay there. I got to make a decision. I got to shift from that, right? And I'm going to choose another one, right? And then this one is where healing came. Mm-hmm. Would you say?
Yep. Because everything that we do in weightlifting, even if we miss a weight, you're still practicing on getting over a barrier, a hurdle, or something that's like, because there is a mind block in actually catching a weight over your head. Like, man, this is super heavy. So if you go into it overthinking it, or even, like I said, putting yourself down, or like, you know what, or second guessing yourself, those things are probably going to affect you being able to actually complete the lift properly, and then also not get injured. So some people, they used to go into the weight room, and it still might be a stigma of some people that you have to be angry and mad. And honestly, when you're lifting weights, especially Olympic weightlifting, you actually want to be calm. You want to be aggressive, but you want to be calm. So you want to attack it, but you also want to have, you know, that finesse to be able to keep your positions, to know when you're doing it right and feel what you're actually doing in the movements. And then all the while you're doing that, you hear people in the background screaming, you got it, you can do it, you're strong, you know, all of these things. And then it's just like, you know what, maybe I am. And then you start getting the confidence. And then, you know, and everyone, you know, they start cheering for you and all that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, we do this in other sports too. But with weightlifting, it's very, you know, specific. You know, when you start reaching like the high performing levels, you know, when it's your turn to lift, no matter it's like moderate or heavy, people don't walk in front of you. They, you know, they give you that respect. They wait for you to, like, people will be walking around. And if you're going to walk in front of your platform and you're getting ready to lift, they'll actually stop. They'll stop and let you do it because you're so focused. They don't want to break your focus. They don't want to like step in your visual and your eyesight. And then you start focusing on something else. What we do in our life, we focus on something else and then we end up messing something up. So I was able to kind of see these certain things. And I'm like, okay, you got to stay focused. Okay, you hear it, you know, like everyone's cheering for you. Cool. Man, they're really saying that you got it. Maybe I do got it. And then you start really believing like you can do all these things that are somewhat impossible. And then let's say you hit a personal best. And then you're like, well, that's my personal best, but I feel like I can do more. And then you start building and building and building. Then you try some more ways. Like, well, I hit this new personal best, but my technique wasn't that great. I know I can hit a lot more if it's a little bit better. I know I can do a lot more in life when my knowledge is a lot deeper, when I've actually studied, when I know how to do certain things, when I've already walked the path. I've done this movement several times. I've studied these books and these articles several times. I've done these interviews several times. So like you can start applying certain stuff in life to what you're doing, like especially in the weight room. And I was like, okay, you can let this bleed out, you know, let this start touching other areas, and then let's see where it goes. And how I describe it is I let my mental thinking, my computer science, my STEM side of me combine with my athleticism. And then I was able to just put things together. And then it was like, my mind is like, this is the path, go for it. And it was happening really quickly to the point where I'm like, sweet. Like I see the path and I'm like 5 steps ahead of people. And I'm like, this is great. This is really great. And again, like I said, when I moved into bobsled, I already knew the things to do because I felt like I had already did them. And, working full time, and then also training and competing full time. When people ask me, they're like, are you tired? I'm like, yeah, I'm a little tired. But then when people say, well, how are you able to work? I'm like, it's a necessity. Like, I have to work so I can gain an income. I can't do what I love to do, which is athletics, without having an income. So sacrificing. I was like, what's going to get me there? I was like, you got to work for it. And once COVID happened, I got laid off. And I had expected to take Olympic year off, not the third year before the games off. And I'm like, well, this sucks. So what am I supposed to do now? But I already knew that I needed to build my platform as an athlete. I needed to make sure all those things were together. But then also I knew that once I stopped working in corporate for full time, I would have a lot more energy and time to do what I love to do, which was athletics, and then also put all that energy into making that next Olympic team. And I was able to do it because my workload capacity was at 110, where other people was already kind of maybe at 80 or 90. And I'm like, well, I know how to do all these things already. Let me just put it together, make sure I'm USA 1 going into Olympic year and then the entire year. And then hope to God that I am nominated as an Olympian for Team USA. And it all worked out at the end of the day. And I was like, this was this was a journey. But I was like, you know what? Dang it, we did it.
I love that. It was a journey, but it all worked out because you believed, you manifested it, right? You trusted God that it will come to fruition. And your first year in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
It's such a true testament about how faith and works. Faith without works is dead, right? You have your faith in it, and you believe in yourself. You believe in God, and it's so funny because we think things are going to turn out one way. You're working a full-time job. It's really not like serving you because your capacity is over capacity, and God is really trying to shift you. But we're holding on to things that we think we need in life, and he's still shifting you. And then he's going to prove to you that, you have everything you need. You have everything you need already on the inside. I absolutely love it. Okay, I got one more question, then I'm going to let you go. Well, because you touched on sacrifices, right? And sacrifices are, you have to work because you need income, because you couldn't at that time do exactly what it was. What other sacrifices do you make as a professional athlete?
Well, as a professional athlete, most of the time, like I said, we work and we train and compete, because a lot of those Team USA sports, and I highlight Team USA sports because a lot of those sports aren't necessarily pro sports. Like soccer, you can go pro in soccer, you can go pro in basketball, you can go pro in track and field, but you can't necessarily go pro on those levels of money compensation, with bobsled, or with volleyball. But it comes down to what you're willing to do for that Olympic dream. And a lot of people find it hard because financially we're not financed by the government like a lot of other nations are. So they're able to kind of go out, they represent their country, they get recognized immediately. If they medal, they're probably taking care of their life. But for us, it's like, okay, 4 years has passed. What do I do now? And then we have to kind of replan our lives and stuff around our particular Olympic sport, because for instance, bobsled, for instance, a lot of the sports that travel for months at a time, like bobsled does, we're gone from season starts in October, ends usually end of March, and we'll travel for like 3 months or so, 3-4 months. And that's almost like being in the military. Like, you're gone for several months or however many years, and then you come back and you're just like, now I have to decompress. But with all that decompressing, you're also taking out of some of the stuff that you would normally do in life. So it's almost like you have to reinsert yourself into a normal particular style of living to maybe meet someone or go out or, like I said, find a job. Because if you're gone for several months, a lot of companies was like, no. But there is a thankfulness to COVID in some ways, because as a computer scientist, I already knew I could work from home. Like most people that work in the tech industry, we all know we can work from home. So when people say, oh, it's not possible, we're like, well, that's not true, because we do it all the time. But now it's almost like that door has kind of been open to everyone, and everyone kind of like started noticing, okay, yeah, we can work from home. Why hasn't this been a thing? Well, the thing is because we want to get you out of the house, like get you moving around, make sure you're staying active, because at the end of the day, some of those things that get us moving and active is going to help us throughout life. And the sacrifice that we give up is, being able to work a steady job, or stability with living, or, income resources, all of those things, love life, all of these things that we have to kind of sacrifice here and there just for this 4-year plan.
Yeah.
And that 4-year plan is hard, because there's millions of people that are trying to do the same thing you are. And some people are in better resourceful areas, some people aren't. But then some people get opportunities and blessings to where now they're able to kind of propel themselves to the top. But those particular situations don't really happen all the time. And so some people plan for certain time frames to do a lot, and then some people won't. So like I said, I was going to take Olympic year off because I wanted to put all my focus in that 4th year. Some people will take 2 years off, 1 year off, and then after the games, kind of you're somewhat burnt out. So some people will take that next year off of athletics so they can rebuild themselves. So it just depends on the person and what your situation is. That's gonna you can either do it or you don't, but you have to factor in like how it's going to affect you later on down the road, because a lot of people can't really tell and they don't see it. So I'm trying to personally right now see where I am. And, I feel it in my heart that I should probably move, but I'm like, where? So now my particular situation is like, well, I need to move somewhere, but I have no idea where. I was like, I've overgrown Colorado. It's time. And like, I have this voice that's telling me it's time. I'm like, well, shoot, where? So when that opportunity comes up, I probably will get it moving really quickly, because I've been feeling this for like a couple of years now. I'm like, it's time. Like you gotta make that move now, or it's gonna be a catastrophe over these next couple of years. So I'm waiting on it, but I'm also like, I'm trying to move with haste. So it's a little weird. It's a different place because there's comfort where I am, but I also know I have to be a little uncomfortable to get to where I want to be, which is either in Paris for 2024 I'm actually going for Italy, Milano Cortina, for the Olympics for 2026. And if Paris tends to work out for a long jump, then it works out. But it's not a necessity, but it's like, it's a possibility. So I keep those possibilities hanging, and if I can grab one, then I'll grab it. But I was like, my plan is for Italy, and hope to God that Italy works out, because that'll be really cool. And I'm trying to figure out how to make that work.
It'll work out for you, I believe. Listen, just hearing your story and how God has opened up so many doors for you, it'll work out. I believe, I'm crazy enough to believe that whatever you say, whatever you believe, whatever you trust God for, it'll happen. Clearly it has, right? Listen to your journey and look at your journey. So I'm hopeful. I so appreciate you doing this. Now, before you go, I know you got that medalist, right? I know you got that medalist somewhere. I know we want to see it. Like we like, can we see this thing?
I do actually, and it's the second item I have gave a name to in life. I've nicknamed it Bronzy.
Bronzy?
Yeah, because we got bronze. It's real original, right? We got bronze at the Olympic Games, and
wow.
It's pretty heavy. So when some people are like, well, why don't you wear it all the time? I'm like, dude, my neck would be so fried.
You drip for real. That's a big drip.
Yeah, like the drip is real. I've like gone to the club with it. I had a whole dance session.
Wait, have you really?
Like, we got down. Yeah, like I mean, it was hanging, and people's like, you didn't just bring your up. Yes, I did. It was like,
I know I did. Listen, I earned it.
Right. I was like, they don't hand out too many of these. And, there was a couple people that's like, well, how do you feel about not getting gold? I'm like, you know what? I was like, we were in a really competitive field. I was like, my pilot was in quarantine until her first official training day of Mama Bob, I'm like, honestly, we threw down and we got the job done. I was like, that's all that matters.
That's all
and
that
I was like, there's only one nation that beat me because Germany got first and second. I'm like, I don't really have a problem. Like, not like we came out with bronze. I was like, everybody else, like, if you didn't really obviously, if you're not first, you're not a winner. But at the same time, like, if you don't get a medal, then like that's what we're here for. We're here to get medals. Like, I didn't come all this way just to go home and empty-handed. So I was like, I'm gonna bring it out. We gonna travel the world together. We gonna go on tour and people want to see it. Sure, you know what? This is what it looks like, and this is how heavy it is. And not too many people have it because I saw my first medal at age 28. I met my first Olympian probably at age 22, 23. But I'm like, these things, they don't come around that often.
I know that's right, and I'm gonna celebrate it. Period.
Right.
Congratulations. Congratulations on all of your achievements, all of your accomplishments. Congratulations on just standing true to yourself, right? And standing faithful. Congratulations on doing the work, right? And I'm not just talking about in the area of athletics. I'm talking about doing the work on yourself. Like, that's big. Like, congratulations. Like, you doing it. And I'm so, like, girl, I'm gonna be cheering for you like you my sister. Hey, let me tell y'all something. Well, you my cousin now, but I'm just gonna be like, because I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for everything you got going on. Like even the craziest, wildest dream that you have, I'm excited because I believe that it's coming, it's happening. You got it, God got it. He got your back. I really appreciate you for coming into class. And so now you're like a co-professor. That's what this is, right? And so,
okay.
And so I really appreciate you just giving us some wisdom and sharing your testimony and sharing your truth, right? Thank you. You've blessed us. You really have.
Thank you for having me on, because this was, when my friend mentioned you, I was just like, let me look her up. And I was just like, and I told her, I was like, I'm not one to always be like, like preaching to people and all that. So I was like, I'm a very spiritual person. I was like, God is very close. So I'm like, I don't tell people, I don't have to, because I feel like my actions need to speak for that. I'm like, if you walk in that faith, people will start to notice.
Yeah.
And, then there's no question. So when one of my teammates, before we get off, she's, she's very similar to you.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I'm just like, but we're also competitive. Like, we're both competing for the same spot. So it was a little difficult. So I have to separate that. And, some of the things that she's been able to get, like, I've noticed, like, I'm like, man, I wanted to do that. Or like, some of my teammates like, man, I was like, one day I did look at, I'm like, no, she's blessed. She's blessed. These things are happening because she's blessed. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, you don't have to sugarcoat it. You don't have to try to find a reason to be negative. I'm like, no, she's just blessed. That's I was like, recognize it and then like be happy for it and like be able to move on and be, like, hell, join that person. You know what? Congratulate them, because you never know like what type of blessings can also come your way as well. So I hope that everyone on here enjoyed us this morning. This was amazing. I really enjoyed talking to you all. And like she said, we cousins.
We cousins. We're going to do this again. We're going to be cheering for you from wherever we from, because the cousins from all over. I'm in LA, but we're going to be cheering for you. We're going to be praying for you and standing in faith that big things are happening today, not someday, today. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
I will.
All right, cousins. I'll see y'all tomorrow. It's Thursday. And I'm sorry, let me do that. Okay, I'll see y'all tomorrow, Thursday, and we're going to do what we normally do. We're going to do exactly what we do. And we're going to come in and we're talking about decisions. Real recognizes real. We're talking about decisions tomorrow. We took a little break on yesterday to talk about offense. God had to get me together. And then we took today to honor our U.S. champion, our U.S. She gonna be mine, baby. Don't nobody else matter at this point. She mine, Sylvia Hoffman. I mean, that's so dope. Like, I can't wait for the girls to see this and be inspired. And then we'll reel it in tomorrow. We'll go back into decisions. All right, I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, bye. Bye, YouTube.